What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 156 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast on this Friday, April 17, 2026. I'm your host, Zach Malum. But before we get started, please subscribe below. Follow all of my social accounts. Let's start things off in the world of basketball. As in the association, the 6 seed Atlanta Hawks take on the 3 seed New York Knicks in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. This all starts with Game 1 tomorrow night, a 6 o'clock start at Madison Square Garden, and the Knicks come into this game as 5.5-point favorites, total sitting at 216.5. Two teams that have faced each other plenty of times so far this season, 3 games, and every single time the road team came out victorious. The Knicks won 2 games on the road, and then Atlanta won 1 game at MSG at the start of the new year. So the Knicks go into this series feeling healthy. They're the 3 seed right now, and they're going to have to face off probably against Boston in the next round. They cannot get ahead of themselves, though. They have a tough Atlanta Hawks team right in front of them with 2 guys that have been terrific so far this season. One of them being Jalen Johnson, who is almost averaging a triple-double this season. 22.5 points, 10.3 rebounds per game, and 7.9 assists per game. He has been absolutely terrific all year long. For Atlanta, they also have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's been terrific for them as well, averaging almost 20 points a game this season. On the Knicks side, of course, it's time for Jalen Brunson to really be the king of New York in a lot of people's minds, and he has a very tough test on his hands in this one, with Atlanta, of course, going to really try to get him out of his rhythm and try to guard him tightly. He's going to need the guys around him to really step up. OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges especially. And I think when you look at this series overall, if the Knicks want to get through it, they just have to win their games at home. I think MSG is one of the toughest, if not the toughest, places to play in all of the NBA playoffs. The Knicks have to take advantage of their home court advantage, especially in this series, and I think the Knicks, if they do that, they will come out on top against Atlanta. I think it'll probably be Knicks in either 5 or 6, depending on how many games the Knicks lose down in Atlanta. If the Knicks control things on their home floor at MSG, though, this should be a pretty straightforward series. Just win your games and rely on your star players to get you over the line. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns being the 2 top ones. I think that's really what it comes down to, and I'm also expecting a big-time series from Karl Anthony Towns. I mentioned Jalen Brunson a moment ago. Cat is going up against an Atlanta team that really is not great down low. They have Onyeka Okongwu, who hasn't been fantastic so far this season, and especially defensively, that's one of the weaknesses for this Atlanta Hawks team. Cat needs to step up big time, especially in the first couple of games of this series. So the Knicks take on the Hawks in Game 1 tomorrow. Then they go into Monday's game, and that's an 8 o'clock start at MSG before the Knicks travel on the road Thursday, Saturday next week. They take on the Hawks down in Atlanta. But it all starts Game 1 of the Eastern Conference first round. The New York Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks, 6 o'clock start at MSG. Make sure you tune into that one tomorrow. But let's shift things to baseball, as both the New York teams were in action this week, and we start things out in Los Angeles as the New York Mets took on the Los Angeles Dodgers, a 3-game set at Dodger Stadium, and the Dodgers win this one 3-0. They sweep the Mets, and the Mets have been swept for the 2nd consecutive series. The losing streak is now up to 8 games. And this series against the Dodgers was just not even close. 2 different levels of teams, and it started on Monday where Justin Robleski looked like a Cy Young Award winner going up against this Mets offense. 4-0, the Dodgers win this one, and he goes 8 innings strong, 2 hits allowed in the game. David Peterson struggled early, and of course, the offense did not help him out. 3rd time in 4 games they were shut out, and it's really not pretty right now for this Mets offense. They headed into Tuesday's game. It was a pitching duel in this one with 2 of the top pitchers in the National League really going to battle. Yoshinobu Yamamoto for the Dodgers and Nolan McLean for the Mets. McLean did great in this one, only the 1 earned run in this game, but it was Kyle Tucker who made the difference when McLean was out of the game. Brooks Raley allows the earned run, and an RBI single for Tucker gave the Dodgers a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 8th. Mets could do nothing on offense in the top of the 9th, and the Dodgers win the series, but then head into Wednesday's game, and it was another battle of pitchers in this one. Just Shohei Ohtani was way too good in the end. 6 innings strong, 2 hits allowed, just 1 earned run with 2 walks and 10 strikeouts. The Mets struck out 14 times in the game. That's the second most this season. And I think when you're looking at Ohtani's stuff, it's fastballs and trying to get it by you and a lot of speed. He does have the off-speed stuff that had the Mets chasing. MJ Melendez was the only guy that really stepped up, it looked like, for the Mets in this one. He had a RBI double, a ground rule double in the top of the 5th, ended up getting another base hit throughout. I think when you're looking at this Mets team, if MJ Melendez is coming up in his first game for the Mets, coming up from the minors, and he's the only one having an impact on offense. Of course, Simeon added an RBI single when the Mets were down to their last out in the top of the 9th, but the game was over at that point. 8-2 is the final in this one. And the Dodgers completely dominated this Mets lineup all 3 games. Robleski to Ohtani and Yamamoto, just every single guy really got to this Mets lineup. And of course, when the Mets lineup is struggling, it's not a great recipe heading into a series against this Dodgers pitching staff. On the Dodgers side, though, they were just racking up hits. Nothing crazy. They had 12 hits in Wednesday's finale, and it was all capped off by a grand slam by Dalton Rushing, who comes into the game and hits an absolute bomb against Devin Williams, who came into the game in the bottom of the 8th, low leverage situation, just try and hold the 2-run deficit, and Rushing sent one deep to center field, 412 feet for the grand slam, and the Dodgers win the series finale 8-2. The Mets offense is just a disaster right now, and there's no way to get around it. They are missing Juan Soto desperately, but even with Juan Soto in this lineup, there's a lot of guys who are getting paid good money this season by this Mets payroll, and they end up looking very poor to start the year. I mean, a lot of these guys with averages close to or even under 200, that's not going to help you out anytime in baseball. And I think the Mets need to be a lot better if they want to get anything going down the road. Of course, it's still early. It's only April 17th, so you can't freak out completely just yet. But this Mets offense needs a lot of work. And if Soto is out for another period of time, I mean, is it going to be the same thing? Is Lindor going to be struggling? Is Robert going to slow down in terms of what he had in the first couple of weeks? Is Marcus Semien going to be terrible? And really, that's a guy who's on the other side of 30 and close to the end of his major league career. But even so, the Mets pay him a lot of money. Just get on base, rack up hits, get contact. And, of course, the base running is the other thing that really stands out to me. I mean, this Mets team was stealing bases left and right last year. And I know they did not make the playoffs in the end, but that was something that got their offense rolling. It got the pitcher on the other side, gave them something to think about. And the Mets have not done a great job of that so far. Not many stolen bases. They've had a couple here and there, but they really need to get to the other pitcher. And I think that's what you're looking for from this Mets team, is just give your offense a little bit of hope. Do something different, because whatever they're doing right now is not at all working. They are not hitting very well either. Just 5 hits on the day on Wednesday. And I think this Mets team has to really step up in this next series, and we look at that now. It's a 3-game set at Wrigley Field against the Chicago Cubs, and the Cubs are going into this series at 9-9, but dealing with a lot of injuries, and Cate Horton being the main one. He's out for the year. That's one of their top pitchers, and they have to really respond after that, this Cubs team. I think looking at the Cubs, they're probably going to be a team that's middle of the pack in the National League. If they end up winning the Central, they'll probably get in, but you know how it goes in the NL Central. Most likely a team that barely gets to 90 wins gets into the playoffs. Will it be the same this year? We find out. Of course, last year was the Milwaukee Brewers, who were terrific, and that's something that a lot of these teams in the NL Central are looking at. Are the Brewers going to be as good as last year? Probably not. They lost their ace in Freddie Peralta as they traded him to the Mets. Not the same team. Some things working around. And I think there is a chance that the Cubs, if they play good baseball, they could end up winning the NL Central and getting into the MLB playoffs. But that's a long way to go. It's still April. This Mets team needs to be a lot better right now, and they have to avoid a 9-game losing streak. It would be their first 9-game losing streak since 2004. Just horrendous stuff by the Mets, and they send Kodai Senga to the mound. 0-2 on the year, 7.07 ERA. He's going up against Edward Cabrera, 1-0 with a 1.62 ERA on the season. Senga last time got absolutely trucked by an A's lineup that really wasn't that good. Of course, they have played well in the last couple of series, especially against the Yankees and the Mets, but 2 1/3 innings, 8 hits allowed, 7 earned runs, 2 home runs, only 3 Ks, 2 walks as well. Like, that's not Kodai Senga. 72 pitches in 2/3 of an inning. That's not good enough right now for this Mets team. I think when you're looking at the pitching, though, you go, okay, sigh of relief. A lot of the pitchers have been pretty good so far for the Mets. You look at Clay Holmes, even though it was a little bit shaky the other day, really good stuff so far this season. Nolan McLean has been electric so far. Freddie Peralta, yeah, a couple blips, but he's a real solid ace, and he's proving that so far for this Mets team, and he's proven that throughout his MLB career. But when you look at Kodai Senga and David Peterson as well, those two guys really need to bounce back after very rough ends to last year. It's not been great for either of them so far. Senga has the stuff if the velo's going, if he has that forkball working, if he has that fastball working. This is a much different type of pitcher than we've been seeing in the last couple of games. He needs to have a big one this afternoon, as it's a 2:20 start at Wrigley Field, and the Cubs come into this one favored, -150. The run line is at 10, especially with these two, the totals at 10, especially with these two teams at Wrigley Field. It's daytime, it's April, and the wind is not going to be too much of a factor. It will be a little bit, of course, April in Chicago. But what all the Mets can control, the only thing the Mets can control is their bats right now, because they've been horrendous. They have to hit the ball, try to get to Edward Cabrera. It's a guy that they've seen. Some of these guys have seen him a lot, especially with his time with the Miami Marlins last year as well. Some of these guys have seen him before. They need to take advantage of that. And Edward Cabrera, pitching for a new team this year in the Chicago Cubs, he gets the start. A 2:20 start out at Wrigley Field. Make sure you tune into that one later. But on the other side of New York, the New York Yankees have also been struggling, not much better than the New York Mets. The Yankees have lost 8 of their last 11, and they end up splitting this series against the Los Angeles Angels at Yankee Stadium this past week. A 4-game set at Yankee Stadium and started on Monday. An 11-10 win, comeback win for the Yankees. Trent Grisham steps up for them big time, coming off the bench. A 3-run bomb in the 5th inning, a 2-run bomb in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game, and it was Ryan McMahon who walked. Jose Caballero scored on a wild pitch from Jordan Romano. So the Yankees win the opener 11-10. Then they go into Tuesday's game, and it was a complete disaster. Ryan Weathers in the 1st inning gets blown up, allows 3 solo bombs back to back to back. The Angels end up hitting a lot of bombs in the series. We'll get to that in just a moment. But they also added Oswald Peraza this offseason from the Yankees, and he has been really, really good so far for the LA Angels. Reed Detmers was really good in this game as well. 7 innings strong, 4 hits allowed, just the 1 earned run, no walks, and 9 Ks. Ryan Weathers struggled early. 5 innings in this one, 5 hits, 5 earned runs with 2 walks and 10 Ks. So the Yankees lose the 2nd game of the 4-game set, and they head into the 3rd game of the series. And this one was a tough one for the Yankees as they end up winning the game. David Bednar gets them over the line, but the Angels really took it to this Yankees team and ended up taking the lead in the top of the 5th with Mike Trout hitting another bomb in the series, right center field. It scores Zach Neto, 4-3 Angels. The Yankees end up responding. David Bednar gets the win. 1-inning pitch with no hits allowed, no runs, with no walks and 2 Ks. But it was all about the offense. Bednar controlled things, locked things down in the top of the 9th. But Jose Caballero, the double steal by the Yankees, Austin Wells, Jazz Chisholm both come in to score, and Caballero is the hero, a 2-run double to give the Yankees a 5-4 victory. Jordan Romano with another loss, another blown lead for this Angels team. Goes a third of an inning, 2 hits allowed, 2 earned runs with 1 walk and no Ks. The Yankees starting staff in this one was Luis Gil, and he struggled again in this game after the first start of the year against the Tampa Bay Rays. He ends up responding with another rough enough outing when you look at 5 innings pitched, 5 hits allowed, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, 83 pitches. Just the earned runs is what you really need to get rid of, and it was a lot of home runs that Luis Gil ended up giving up. Frazier, O'Hoppe, and then a 2-run bomb from Trout. That was it for Luis Gil. I think looking at Luis Gil, they have seen the stuff, especially after a couple of years ago where he was the rookie of the year in the American League. This is a guy that needs to be a lot better, though, and try and get back to that 2024 form. If he can do that, then the Yankees have a real promising pitcher on their hands. But the injuries last year, then heading into this year, he just has been a little shaky. And of course, it's early, only 2 starts in. But this is a guy that they need desperately to probably be the 4th guy in this rotation, and a guy that maybe they have to rely on heading into the playoffs in the series. And of course, if it's a deeper series, that's going to be a guy that's probably pitching for them. Of course, they have a lot of guys coming back. Not everybody's going to be healthy. And I think looking at it, Luis Gil, if he is healthy, that's a guy that the Yankees are going to need to rely on. If they don't rely on him, it'll probably end up being Cam Schlittler. You don't know how Garrett Cole's going to respond when he comes back right away. Carlos Rodon's still going to have to come back and really ramp himself up towards the postseason as well. Max Fried's the only one that's really locked in and solid in that playoff rotation whenever that does come. But I think when you're looking at it, Luis Gil, not a great couple of games, and he needs to be a lot better in the next couple of outings. Hopefully he can improve. His ERA is up to 7 so far this year, so not great right now. Has to be a lot better. But the Yankees pull out with a win, and they come away with a tough, gritty win in the bottom of the 9th. Back-to-back nights, or 2 of the last 3 nights, they end up winning it late. And give credit to the Yankees for continuing to fight. They don't go to extra innings, which is usually a good sign for the Yankees because they've been terrible since the Manfred rule was implemented in extras. They end up getting both of those wins in the bottom of the 9th. Then they go into Thursday's game. It's the series finale, and Max Fried on the mound. Not a great day for Max Fried. 5 innings, 5 1/3 innings pitched with 3 hits allowed, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. Just did not have the strikeout stuff in this one. And give credit to the Angels lineup. They got to him early. Oswald Peraza, who had a heck of a series returning to Yankee Stadium, started things off top of the first with a 2-run bomb into left field to give the Angels a 2-0 lead. Yankees responded with a couple of homers from their own side, Aaron Judge being one of them, of course, and then Giancarlo Stanton, of course, doing the same with a monster shot into center field. 446 feet, gave the Yankees a 3-2 lead in the bottom of the 3rd inning, but then it was the Angels that really responded in the 6th inning. They put up a 4 spot in the 6th, and Max Fried gets taken out of the game. Fernando Cruz came out of the pen, did not help him out. He ends up getting charged with a earned run, one of the earned runs, with 2/3 of an innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, the 1 earned run, like I mentioned, with 1 walk and 2 Ks. Not good enough from the Yankee bullpen that got absolutely wrecked for the rest of this game. Angel Savilli, who comes in with the Yankees needing to try and keep it close. He ends up giving up a bomb to Mike Trout. Of course, Mike Trout having a series to remember at Yankee Stadium. He ends up finishing with 5 home runs in the series. That is 5 straight games as well, dating back to last season, that Mike Trout has homered at Yankee Stadium. Really back into MVP form before the pandemic. Mike Trout, a guy to really look out for this year. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be an electric player, of course, as he always is each and every year for this Angels team. Probably not going to be close in the MVP voting because the Angels just don't see it. Them being a team that's challenging for the top level in terms of the American League, challenging for the division. I just don't see it from this Angels team this year. They could be a solid team, probably near a 500 team. They're probably hoping just a little bit over 500 is a successful season for them. But Mike Trout probably not going to be in the MVP voting because of that team that he's on in the LA Angels. But they had an impact the Angels did give them credit. They came into Yankee Stadium. They hit 13 home runs against a pitching staff that allowed just 3 for the first couple of weeks of the season heading into this series. Just crazy stuff, and it's actually the most that the Yankees have allowed in a home series at Yankee Stadium in their history. The 13 home runs they allowed in the 4-game set. There's been a couple other series they went on the road and they struggled and allowed a lot of home runs, but those were all the way back in the 80s and 70s. This Yankees team does not give up a lot of home runs, and they end up giving up plenty to the Angels in this one. So they split the series 2-2, and the Yankees head into another 3-game set. It's going to be against the Kansas City Royals, who they welcome to Yankee Stadium Friday. It's a 7:05 start, and it's Cam Schlittler getting the ball for the Yankees. 2-1 on the year, 2.49 ERA, coming off of a tough game against the Tampa Bay Rays last week. Michael Wacha on the other side, 2-0, a .43 ERA this season. Been really good in 21 innings pitched. Yankees are not going to have an easy test tonight, but Michael Wacha is not going to have an easy test either, heading into the Bronx and the jungle that is Yankee Stadium. The Royals come into this game on a 4-game losing streak. Haven't been good so far this year, and the Yankees need to take advantage of it. Get the bats rolling early against Michael Wacha and let Cam Schlittler do his thing. Although it was a rough outing last time, the guy has just been so good so far this year. 30 strikeouts in 21 2/3 innings pitched. That's great stuff from Schlittler, and he's got to keep that going this evening. And the Yankees got to keep things going against a very tough Kansas City Royals team that they met in the playoffs a couple years ago. They still got some guys. I know the Royals are only 7-12 on the year so far, but this is a talented team, and of course, they're bringing in some of these pitchers, especially Cole Reagans on Sunday. They got Noah Cameron, who's a young pitcher, coming in on Saturday. It's not going to be an easy stretch for this Yankees team. No Max Fried in this series for the Bombers. They have to step up against Kansas City, get things back on track. They've lost 8 of their last 11. This thing has to end at some point. They have to get back to the early play that they were having, and when they started off the year, winning 8 of 9 or 7 of 8, excuse me, they were really playing good baseball. They have to keep that going, especially in this series against a struggling Royals team. So we'll see what happens, but make sure you tune in all series long. It all starts tonight. 7:05 start at the stadium as the Yankees take on the Royals in the Bronx. But that will do it for episode 156 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast. Please subscribe below. I've been Zach Malum, and thanks for watching, and talk to you all on Monday.